All right, all right. Hello, hello. Welcome back. Welcome back. I am just taking a look. I kind of want to spend some time seeing about putting together a new build. Potentially. Potentially. I am thinking maybe we try and do a Flicker Strike build. Just because it's so much fun. So, let me go through and give you the kind of the lowdown on what a Flicker Strike build is and why it's cool, and we'll take a look at the tree and see if we can set up a new build. And I might start another character that we could try to get Flicker Strike going on. All right, so the reason why Flicker Strike is cool, why it's fun to play, is all that Flicker Strike is it's a teleport move, and you teleport to any nearby monster and attack it with your weapon. If you don't pick a specific one, it's picked at random. So you kind of just teleport and bounce all over the place. And the cool part is right here. The really cool part about the build is that the cooldown can be bypassed by expending a frenzy charge. So that's super duper cool because you can just infinity teleport as fast as you can generate frenzy charges. So if we're going to be doing a build around frenzy charges, we'll have to like generate those as fast as we can to get the cooldown on this as low as we can, and then we can infinity teleport, just bounce around like a ping pong ball. It'd be really cool. How horrible is the grind to get to a build? Um, I mean, it depends. It's not too bad to be honest. Like the character I'm playing now, the Glacial Occultist. Um, let's see. Do I have them open in another tab? Okay, I'll show you. I'll show you my plan for the character I was playing just now. Do do do. There we go. So this is the character I was playing. And in the game, I almost had most of this already built out. So like, you get like it's level 62. I think my character was like getting close to the 40s. So we weren't quite filled out, but it was close. And we had, as far as ascendancy points, we had gotten up to the first two ascendancy points, and usually you can get maxed out around six, but like we're kind of like I would say halfway through the campaign on the character I'm on. We're about halfway through the campaign, so it's like not too bad. I spent like one day on a character, and it's halfway through. After that, you get to the end game grind, and that's when it gets crazy. But yeah, yeah. So I'm just a big fan of the Flicker Strike build just because of how fun it is, like being able to teleport around and like hit people, and like it's just a really fun playstyle compared to like spamming projectile spells or whatnot. Um so yeah, so this this right here is the reason I play Path of Exile at all. Is just this massive tree. Um like this is the whole reason I play. It's so much fun trying to come up with different ways to put together a build. So for us doing the Flicker Strike, we're gonna want to do frenzy charges, and we're gonna want as many of them as we can at all times. So there's a couple different starting points. Each of these icons like this is a starting point for a class, so you can start at any of these points. and also including the middle. So we have a couple different starting points to consider. But after that, you can go anywhere on the tree you want as long as you have enough points, enough level ups to get there. So um, it's not super restrictive, except for how many you can get and how fast it scales and how well it works. So, with that in mind, oh, I want to look at the different options we have for generating frenzy charges, and see if we can do like a cool build. So this is a potential. This class right here, 20% chance to gain a power or frenzy charge or endurance charge on hit. So that's potential. Only downside with that is that it's power, frenzy, or endurance. So even with a 20% chance, we might get a power or an endurance charge. And really, we only care about frenzy charges. So that's not bad though. Those other charges are like still useful. 8% chance to gain a frenzy charge when you hit a unique enemy. So that's good, but that's not really restricted to this class. That's just sword mastery in general. So no big deal there. All right, so this class has some options. Your max endurance charges are equal to your max frenzy charges. So this is actually interesting because you don't have to put points into endurance because it'll automatically equal your max frenzy, and then it also gives you a +1 to max frenzy charges. So this might be viable. Ooh, so this is on kill. Yeah, so this one we'd have to stack with something else because this you have 25% chance to get a frenzy charge on kill with the main hand, and then 25% chance to gain a endurance charge on the offhand. So we could kind of play this multiple ways. We can either have them just be dual wield and try and generate as many charges as fast as we can, or we can put a shield on the offhand to get rid of that endurance charge on kill with offhand and just get frenzy charges. But that's only a 25% chance, and you also have to get a kill. So since it's not like on hit or anything like that, it might be a little difficult. It also doesn't look like we get a whole lot out of it just because that 10% more damage while at maximum charges, well, we're almost never going to be at max charges because we're going to be spending them constantly. So, yeah, we're going to have to try and figure out oh man, there's so many options. Also, we're going to have to figure out what type of like what damage type we're going for. Are we going for pure physical? Are we going for like fire, electric, ice, etc.? There's a lot of options, a lot of options. But just looking from the looking at the tree from a high up perspective, it's gonna be it's gonna be like this half. The bottom right half of the tree is where most of our options are as far as frenzy charges. So we want to grab these. Anytime we see one of these, just +1 to max, we want that. We want that. So we're going to want this one. We're going to want this one. And we're going to want this one. So we may want to go in between so that we can go left and right, or start up here and go all the way down. How do you even keep track of all the possible paths? Well, that's the fun part, is that you don't. You just pick something to base your build off of. In this case, for me, it's Flicker Strike, which is just an attack ability that I like. And then you put your whole build around that. So you don't really like remember all the paths. You just kind of build it off of like what you want your build to be. So like for this, we're just trying to get as many frenzy charges as possible so that we can teleport around with Flicker Strike as much as possible. And at that point, it's just a matter of, you know, which path do you think will be the most efficient, or what gives you access to like other things that are also good. So for example, Flicker Strike, I obviously want these frenzy charge nodes here and here, and then probably here, right? But then depending, you might want something like, I don't know, let's say attack damage penetrates elemental resistance. Maybe you're going for like elemental damage on the attack. Well, then you'd probably want to kind of branch off over to here. So it's just a matter of like kind of stacking all the things that you want. So it's not really like a memorized thing. It's more of like a just like step through and see. Each node just gives you a little bit of a buff that stacks, and they just keep stacking until you become God, or you you hit a hard wall because your build sucks. So what kind of damage? What kind of uh damage? All right. So what kind of damage? I'm gonna kind of let you jump in and kind of make some choices, and I'll try and make a build around it. There's a couple different damage types in the game. So you have just normal physical damage. So you can modify that by getting like armor penetration and things like that. But this is just like the standard damage type. Not bad, definitely viable. It also gives you better access to life leech, so you get health back on hit, which could be useful. There are three types of elemental damage you can also build off of: fire, cold, and lightning. And then the last one is poison or chaos damage. Which the cool thing about this is that chaos damage ignores energy shield and just affects life. It's kind of like pure damage almost. So it's like poisons, damage over time, stuff like that. So what sounds cool? What sounds fun to try and make our damage type while we're teleporting around hitting a bunch of people? What do you think would be a cool damage type to like try to work into our build? Hmm. Leech is always kind of nice because you can get mana and health back. Um, but also chaos damage might be nice because you can teleport, hit someone, poison them, and then while the poison is like ticking down over time, you can go hit someone else, you know? So you're not spending time on one guy. You can kind of bounce around. There's also stuff like bleed and other things like that, but I don't really care about that too much. Um, so I'm gonna go here. I'm somewhat inclined to go Chaos and Poison because I don't think I want to do Frost. I think I want to dual wield claws. Like that sounds kind of cool, right? Like teleport behind you, swipe with the claws. Kerchow, gotcha, kid. Like that type of thing. Yeah, yeah. I'm kind of feeling. I'm kind of feeling claws. So that would be probably chaos damage. Maybe physical and chaos. You can split it a little if you want. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I think we're probably gonna end up being Ranger. Ranger is um pretty good just because of this. Chance to gain a frenzy charge on kill and on hit. So I think we're probably go Ranger class. Do the Ranger Raider. And it's also right in between here and here, which are the two different areas that we need, so I'm gonna just start building out a tree that connects to a few of these. And then from there, kind of get a build. That's exactly what I'm going for, is like the nothing personnel kid. That's exactly what we're going for. So damage over time, poison, potentially bleed. I think bleed doesn't scale as well though, because I think bleed counts as physical damage over time, whereas poison is chaos damage over time. So I don't know if we'll really want to mix those two. I don't know how well it'll work, but yeah, so like now that we're thinking like, okay, teleport, maybe poison damage, we can either do just poison and look for poison nodes, and there's quite a few poison nodes, and they're actually relatively close to the main branch we got started. I might like finesse, try and get rid of a few nodes here or there, but this is kind of what we want. Grab some of these poison nodes. And then up here as well, more poison nodes. So this guy's right on our branch already, which is pretty awesome. We'll probably use some of these claw build type stuff. And then another one is like this, damage over time for ailments. That includes that includes both physical and chaos. So like physical damage over time and poison damage over time. So yeah. So like if you wanted to do bleeding, you could do a bleeding build by going over here. And that may actually be good, but I think I want to stick to poison because I don't think I want to do physical damage over time. I think I want to try and do chaos damage over time. So good thing about that though is that this is right off of the path we already have. So look at that. You go here, you go here. 15% increased damage, 15% increased duration, 10% damage, and they also deal their damage faster. So quicker duration. I may want to build less damage taken as well into my build so that I don't get insta-killed. Eh, interesting. Yeah, I'm not doing bow, but you can do bow as well. They have stuff like this for if you're doing like poison shot with like a bow, but I'm probably not going to do much of that. Okay. That's bow, that's sword, that's bow. This is the poison one we already picked. We're probably going to want to grab these. We'll take a look at that a little bit more later. All right, so now let's really make sure we get some of these. Yeah. So we're going to want this. Damage over time multiplier is the way to go. Increase chaos damage. Pretty darn good. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is the bow. Okay. This is the bow stuff. So I'm getting the feeling that we might want to start up here. Like we may actually want to adjust the tree to go up here first. Because it seems like there's more stuff up here. Like up towards the top that's useful for us. And then maybe come down here later. There's also a couple that are close though. There's a couple that are close. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Actually kind of gets you pretty darn far going around this way. All right, so one thing I'm gonna try and do to make this more efficient is like we kind of have all these points going this way, but we probably don't really need most of those. If we can find a way to go this way and get other nodes along the way that are also good, we probably want to do that. So I was looking at this because it gives you a chance to get a frenzy charge when you block. So we're going to go for dual wield. Let's see. Dual wielding mastery. More damage while dual wielding. I think we're going to do that. Chance to block. So kind of what I'm trying to do here is like kind of go down the path and find things that'll stack well and then make the path be as condensed as possible for both damage and survivability so that I can get rid of these kind of like just passive nodes that are sitting off by themselves. Can you do a Skyrim? So not really. You can grind a little bit, like for a couple levels, but the way Path of Exile works is there's like an EXP gain curve. So if you are like I think it's like 5 levels above or 5 levels below the area that you're in, your XP like falls off really hard. Um, so you kind of want to build a tree that will work for not just the end of the game, but also the beginning of the game, because like you have to not waste points. Otherwise, you'll your build will just kind of fall off, if that makes sense. So it's a little bit of both in the sense that you're going to want to be efficient. Like you can't just spam levels. So critical strike. Yeah. I'm just gonna put some of these chaos stuff on. We'll take some of these off later, but I just want to mark them. Cool. Cool, cool. All right, so let's look at dual wielding. See what options we have for dual wielding. Did I type wielding? I typed wielding wrong. Your late game efficiency, dude. Well, that's the thing is that like pretty much all of the levels that you have are like percentage based stacking passives. So really, if you make a build that is like well condensed and doesn't waste a lot of your levels, it actually scales really, really hard, like the other way, and your late game will be really strong. Because you get stuff like this where it's like 6%, 6%, 15%, and those damage multipliers just stack and stack and stack. So by the time you hit like, level 80 or something towards the end game, you'll have so many of those different percentage based damage multipliers stacking that you'll actually be doing really well. So it's kind of cool because even though the tree is this massive and there's like a million different ways to go about doing a build, it encourages you, like, regardless of what your build is, to kind of be efficient about your tree. So that's kind of cool. I like that. It becomes one of those, like, how do I stack these things in order to make it as good as possible, you know? Critical strike while dual wielding. So one thing that's interesting, an interesting interaction is critical strike can apply to poison. So critical strike doesn't just apply to the initial hit, it also applies to the damage of the poison that's applied. So even though we're not really going for like a one hit kill like attack type of a build, we can still go into critical strike because it'll increase our poison damage. You can crit on like damage over time as well. So that is pretty cool. Okay, so now we kind of just have to connect these two. Are any of these evasion rating? I think I want to go straight up here. And then probably here. So now we can get rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You see what I'm doing there? You can kind of prune the tree down a little bit. And now kind of like we have useful nodes kind of all along the path. So that's cool. I might actually put a few extra points here. Spell suppression is really useful. Um, it gives you a chance to block 50% of the damage whenever someone hits you with the spell, right? So what you can do is go like that. It costs a few more points, but it'll help us not get insta-killed by someone hitting us with the spell. So that might actually be worth it. Work some spell block into our build setup there. Not too bad. Not too bad. And now let's see. Damage for frenzies. So this will generate tons of frenzy charges for us. And then I don't want to get this one because we're going to be spending our frenzy charges to get rid of that cooldown that I talked about. So I actually don't want buffs that rely on you having charges. But what I do want is stuff like this. So plus 40% chance to suppress spell damage is massive. That is massive. So this plus like that one that I added down here, 12, 5, 5, 5. So 15 and 12, 27, and then 40. That gets you really high spell suppression. So that'll help a lot with like not getting instantly killed by just like a bunch of people spamming spells. Hmm. So what could be an interesting idea is like we could potentially teleport to someone and then hit them with the second ability and then teleport away. So, I don't know. But those for now are pretty darn strong. Yeah, so like it's kind of coming together. A lot of this I'll have to like prune down to be more efficient. But like this part at least is pretty solid. Most of it gets right to the point. Claws, poison, spell suppress for survivability, dual wield, block, damage over time, frenzy. Like that's pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward, pretty good. Gives us a lot of options to think about. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this type of idea, and I'll make a new character, and I'll probably end up playing that like tomorrow. I'll still keep playing the witch, the glacial cascade witch. But I love the coming up with builds, so I'm gonna do some of that. Oh, all right. Well, I kind of got got a little sidetracked with the stream going down and whatnot, but I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna have to go to the gym and do some of that kind of life stuff. So I'm getting off for now. But thank you for hanging out. I had a really good time hanging out with you and all that good stuff. And I'll take a look at the build and then I'll be back tomorrow. We'll be gaming. Be good. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, dude. Thanks for hanging out. I had a good time. So have a nice time. Don't stress about work or life or things too much. Just kind of enjoy the break. We don't get a break too often, so enjoy the break while you got it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All right. All right. Well, I'm gonna get off. Thank you, and have a nice day.